You know, man, I hate fucking kids these days, man. I mean, this, okay, is rock and roll, okay? This is Spider-Man, okay? What the fuck is this? The fuck? Hello and welcome to Because We Care, with hosts Keith Kilgore.
Hi.
And Reggie Watts. And this week we were talking about the Amazing Spider-Man versus the old trilogy. I have not seen the new one, but Keith here has.
Yeah, I didn't go to the midnight premiere of this one like we did The Dark Knight Rises, but I went one of it the day it came out, and I was like, first person in the theater and all that, and the only thing that really hampered it was this black woman and her kid sitting in front of me, in which the kid was like, "What's he doing, Mom?" And I was like, "Shut up." But it's neither here nor there. I thought it was a really good movie. They knew Peter Parker. They kind of revamped. It's like a starting point. They're planning on making a bunch of new movies, but I thought it was really good, and I thought it seemed a little bit more personal with this one. But we're gonna start talking about comparing the different movies. So let's start with the plot of each. So you can go on about the plot of
the plot with the original ones?
Yeah, just
with the Green Goblin and
just like the overall what the plot was about in a way.
I like the whole idea of him going to be the Spider-Man in the original one as a fighter type of thing, trying to do that whole wrestling thing and Randy Macho Man Savage. I just love the first Spider-Man for that whole idea of that. Plus, I gotta admit,
You're gonna be paid.
Plus, Tobey Maguire is a hell of an actor. I thought he fit perfectly with it, just because he was such a whiny little bitch, basically, which is what Spider-Man I thought should have been. He's this nerdy little guy, but as you kind of alluded to, though, he's not. He wasn't that. The movie didn't portray him as being smart, really. Just people just said oh, you're smart, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But the final plot with him, the final scene with him facing the Green Goblin and all that shit was pretty badass. Plus, I like the Green Goblin as a antagonist more so than most of the other ones were. Doc Ock, he was okay.
Yeah.
And what the hell was that? The third
there was
one?
There was three. There was the New Goblin, the Sandman, and fucking Venom.
Venom, yeah. Played by the guy from
That 70
Show. I don't know his fucking name, but
yeah, I forget his name.
That was weird.
Yeah. I like the plot of the new one is very much. I will say it's really similar to the plot of the first Spider-Man movie. He's trying to come to grips with his new powers, and he's learning, how to use them correctly. And a lot of people are like, well, the plot wasn't nearly as good. And I'm like, well, that's because, you really can't go through some of the stuff, you can't have the crisis that, in Spider-Man 2 that Peter Parker had, should I be Spider-Man? And then you can't just fall and just hit rock bottom like he did in Spider-Man 3. You can't do that in one movie. That's too much for people to handle. So, but for an origin story and all that, I think it did pretty well. All right, let's talk villains. Villains that were in this. I personally, I'm supporting the Amazing Spider-Man. I like the Lizard because he fit with the theme of the movie, which was filling in what's missing from your life, in which he's missing an arm, which that helps. But also, I like him better because he has a connection to Spider-Man. In Spider-Man 1, the Green Goblin, he's just crazy and Spider-Man is just in his way. In the second one, Doc Ock, he's crazy and Spider-Man's in his way. At least in the third one, the Sandman killed Uncle Ben, both Eddie Brock and Venom are kind of angry at Spider-Man, and Harry's angry at him for killing his father. So they're all connected.
So with the Lizard's whole concept of missing something in his life, do you think that symbolizes something Spider-Man's missing in his life too?
Yeah, his parents. His parents weren't killed, which was something that they changed from the actual comics. His parents weren't killed, but they vanished, and he doesn't know what happened to them, and so that's the thing. He's trying to find something with his life because he feels incomplete and he's like a social outcast. And also the thing is, like, Peter's dad knew Kurt Connors, who becomes the Lizard, and Spider-Man gives him the means. Peter gives him the means, like a formula, to complete his serum so he can grow his arm back. So he creates the Lizard in a way. So that's why I like that, because like I said, there's a connection between them. They're connected. Your go.
My go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know much to talk about because all I know is the original trilogies.
Well, yeah, you can talk about just the Green Goblin and all that.
Well, the whole plot. I mean, I
just the villains, like how well the villains worked in the grand scheme of things.
I like the connection between his best friend and the Green Goblin being.
Yeah, I did forget.
That was awesome. That was pretty cool. And then him becoming the new Green Goblin was also cool.
I forgot about that.
Sandman, as you said, he was a cool connection because of him being the guy that shot. He did shoot Uncle Ben. He did.
It wasn't on purpose, but he did it.
Yeah, and Venom was a good fit to kind of represent evil in Spider-Man 3. Because it really showed, like you said, his giant fall to like the total like opposite of where he was going and stuff. His total depression. Well, that's why I feel Venom was a good pick for that movie, and it was a darker movie than the other two.
People always say the Green Goblin's Spider-Man's ultimate nemesis. I always thought it was Venom, because Venom's like, he's basically just an evil Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's the same as Spider-Man, just.
Which people don't think about because he has like less originality because he's just like Spider-Man. The Green Goblin has more character to him, but Venom seems like his main enemy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely forgot. Yeah, I forgot about a lot of things that you just mentioned. So yeah, all right. Let's talk about, I guess, Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Yeah, you can start again with this one. Tobey Maguire versus Andrew Garfield.
Okay, Tobey Maguire, first of all, a perfect actor for it because he's like a giant pussy. He just fits the role. I don't know what to say. He's just like that wimpy little guy that you don't see being Spider-Man. The only trouble with him is that when he tries to be a badass in Spider-Man 3, it's just, I don't see it happening.
It's so funny.
At least with the new actor, I mean, I feel like they can pursue something on that same avenue and have more of an effect with it.
Yeah. With Andrew Garfield, I actually saw this thing online where they drew 6 things of comparison from the original comics, and one of them, like, they did a high school life, in which, and I agree with it. They said they thought Andrew Garfield does a better job portraying Peter before he becomes Spider-Man, because Tobey Maguire, when he plays Spider-Man, he has balls, but only when he puts the mask on.
Yeah.
Like, at least Andrew Garfield, he stands up, like, the first couple of minutes of the movie, he stands up to Flash Thompson and, like, gets in a fight with him. So, I mean, they modernized it a little bit. Spider-Man's a skater now, so, which I thought. Another thing was, like, in the comics, Spider-Man is, like, he cracks a lot of wise, cracking jokes. Like, he's just, he's making fun of it. It's almost completely absent in the trilogy, but then it's not as much as I would like, but it's in the new one, which is good. I think the development as a hero was better in the trilogy, but that's just because, they had 3 movies. You have a lot more time to kind of mess with the character and take him different places. And also, Andrew Garfield's a small guy, so they had to adapt his fighting style a little bit. Tobey Maguire, that he can believably, because he's a little bit more built, he can believably fist fight. With the new guy, they kind of had to think of different ways of him fighting, in a way.
So it's more believable.
Because otherwise it's not going to happen. And the other thing was how the love between, in the original Spider-Man, I think this is good. I actually think it's a tie here, but where it's like it's an up and down relationship between him and Mary Jane, but it's kind of sudden. It's like, oh, I love you. Oh, I don't. Oh, It's kind of like, where in the new one, it starts out, there's like an attraction, and then over the course of the film, it just slowly builds where like you actually kind of care about it. Whereas in the trilogy, I kind of found myself almost not caring about it almost.
Yeah.
As much.
So is there more room for, like, are they making a sequel to that, or?
They're planning on it. There's no script yet or nothing, but they're planning on making a sequel. Like, I mean, the movie just came out. So
yeah, I know.
So they're just like, oh, the movie did good. We're gonna make a sequel.
As it always happens. Day 2 after the movie comes out.
But then after the
sequel? Question mark.
What happens is they make the first movie and then they're like, we're making a sequel. But then before the second movie's even done, you're like, no, let's make a third one. Like, we have no clue. The second one ends up being crap. But
I gotta make a third one anyways.
and then, so I guess love interests. I always liked Gwen Stacy better in the comics because she was Peter's love interest before Mary Jane, and then she died, which sucked, and you know, it was kind of Spider-Man's fault, which was like this huge dilemma in the comics. But I actually kind of hope they don't kill her off. Like, they probably will to stay true to the comics, but I mean, I kind of like Emma Stone as playing it. I thought that her and Andrew Garfield, their chemistry worked well, which is probably why they're going out right now. So I mean, but I thought it worked really well.
That's about it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean-
we got plot, love interest, characters, villains,
Villains, yeah, we got all that. So
themes.
all right, yeah, I kind of hit that.
Yeah.
Theme's kind of obvious, whether or not taking responsibility for your actions and what you're able to do. So, all right, yeah, that's the end of this one.
All right, because we care.
Bye.